that first pick got like disconnected by that point. So, who do you think they'll go for? I think that the coddle is basically you kind of have to take it because giving it up way is yeah. So they do take the coddle. That does leave the Darkseer in the pool, and I know the Dignitas enjoys running that, but man, it's actually I feel these days coddle is pretty much impossible to beat unless you get some sort of amazing early game advantage.
Most definitely. It's very difficult, at least, to control that lane. I mean, some teams just go for like a 3.5-1-0 where they completely ignore the lane that Keeper Light's in entirely, and they're like, okay, well, we'll cede that lane to you. You have the Illuminates, that super-duper pony harassment. We're not going to deal with that. Instead, we're just going to play our game and put a lot of pressure out early. Maybe pick up a Chen or an Enchantress and have a lot of push momentum. But Team Dignitas doesn't seem to be working that way. They seem to want to contest it, and that means they're going to pick up the Clockwork and the Visage, however they want to lane it. If Clockwork's in the tri-lane, that can pull somebody like a Phantom Lancer out of position really, really early. Send your ward down, Visage with a Soul Assumption, big damage. And I think Team Dignitas really wants to contest this top lane.
Yeah, because even if you ignore the top lane, then imagine that they have a theoretical tri-lane top. Once you ignore that top lane, one support's going to go do the pulls, and by level 2, the Keeper of the Light can start jungling all on their own, and wow, these are amazing aggressive picks. I really enjoyed coming up from Team Empire. Queen of Pain is going to handle the mid lane really well, and it's going to be fairly easy for that Queen to get out of those Visage and Clockwork ganks. Same thing coming out for the Lifestealer. While those cogs are tremendously irritating, you're still not going to take that huge amount of damage from the Soul Assumption, and the Visage Slow is just going to not affect you at all. You're basically completely fine to Visage. And then in the mid game, you're able to go for this, really high mobility lineup. The Lifesteal can be farming one lane, Keeper of the Light can recall in, or even, more devastating, Keeper of the Light can recall a hero that Nyx has infested. And then you have a team fight whenever you need to. The Nyx can be farming the entire time, and then, as soon as he needs to fight, the Keeper of the Light allows him to come in.
Yeah, we see a lot of potential here, whether it's through the Blink, Queen of Pain, Infest Bombs, or just the aspect of Lifestealer not being really limited by the abilities of Visage and Clockwork. Like, the cogs can keep him in place, and that... the hookshot will actually stun him during that time period, but the battery assault won't be that big of a deal. The Grave Chill and the Soul Assumption just shrugs those off and keeps on rolling, because that Rage really enables him to just keep his focus there without being disabled up. And he does have some mobility issues, which the Clockwork might actually use to their Team Dignitas' advantage, but it's just going to be one way or another. He has a lot of potential if he can get to his destination, so Team Empire needs to be looking to draft up some disables here, just kind of set up some kind of initiator. So that's pretty much what they're looking at here. As far as the lanes go, Queen of Pain presumably on the mid, could run on the bottom technically, but I definitely think Team Empire is looking at a defensive tri-lane of Keeper of the Light and Lifestealer.
Yeah, I'm wondering what Dignitas will go for here. I think there are two major options. Oh wow, they go for the Puck, so I was wrong. But I was going to say it's either Bane or Shadow Demon to go and give them a lot of lockdown. But Puck does that well. Not in the same way. You're not going to be as good against Lifestealer, but that kind of AoE denial that Puck affords you, and that range of initiation. We've seen this from teams like Liquid, Dignitas, just the entire NA scene. What they want right now is to have very long-range nukes, very long range of initiation, to go and pick your fights wherever you want to, jump on the other team, and just never let them get an opportunity to have the fight on their terms. And the amount of nuke damage coming out from this lineup, Clockwork's missile is not to be underestimated. We all know how much damage Soul Assumption can do. And the same thing with Puck's Orb and Silence combo. Like, they can go and burst down the Queen of Pain if the Silence gets off immediately. Also, I wouldn't be surprised to see this be something like, an Orchid Puck that I believe Korok has been doing quite a bit recently to go and help shut down that Queen of Pain and Keeper of the Light. Once that item gets up, these are two fairly squishy heroes, and if they don't have the escape on that Queen of Pain, that can be nuked down very quickly.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense there, and it seems like the way they're drafting right now, at least, it seems that all their intention here is for Clockwork to ulti in on the Lifestealer, put him inside the cogs, and then just completely take him out of the fight and focus on everybody else. The Silence is great against Keeper and Queen of Pain. Limiting that Blink, making sure she can't escape or the Blinding Light won't come out, means they can put out the damage where they want to and win the team fight by taking down the squishy supports and initiators. So I think their main idea here is just ignore the Lifestealer, put him in a little cage, and set him aside for later. Well, they just pick apart the rest of the lineup, and I think that could be done to great effect. There's now banning out some signature heroes of Team Empire, the Scandal Darkseer, the Silent Bane. Taking those two out is a really good option. The Shadow Demon along with that, the Keeper Light tri-lane would be way too powerful with those options online. So taking them out, but in turn, it looks like Team Empire is going to be banning out some number ones, the Phantom Lancer, the Silencer, and the Gyrocopter.
Does Dignitas actually play Silencer as a number one? I know that we've seen a couple teams do that, but honestly, I've not been able to catch Dignitas playing that hero at all.
I actually haven't seen it as a. I've seen them pick it, but not as a number one. They have run it as a number two. I think even maybe as a number three, but I've never seen it a number one in their hands. And actually, Empire is one of the few teams that really tries to put emphasis on that. But
Yeah.
I feel that since they already have the Waning Rift on their lineup, that Team Dignitas wouldn't. They'd just be looking for something that kind of combines together. But I do love this Nature's Prophet pickup. It gives them tons of global presence. We already talked about the Recall, the Infest. Now we have the Nature's Prophet. So essentially, what we're looking at is if the Keeper Light's in the right position, he can initiate at least a 4-man gank squad. It's very, very effective. It's very, very dangerous as well, because individuals like Visage, until he gets large ranks in that Graveskeeper slope, picks up something like a Mechanism, unless Clockwork does, it's going to put Visage in a position, or any other hero that's very vulnerable. Anytime he shows up on the map, anytime he's visible, that's when Team Empire can just strike and really, really bring the pain to their lineup here. So they can pick them apart, try to make sure that they don't have to fight 5v5. They go for skirmishes that they know they're walking into the advantage of. And the big deal there is going to come down to wards. Visage, not really item reliant, will be able to put down a lot of wards here, but I'm curious what, other than Keeper Light, if Team Empire is going to have another hard support that will be warding, or something that's a little more item reliant. So we'll have to see. But for right now, how do you think that Nature Prophet is going to lane?
Yeah, I don't think. I think it comes up to what Dignitas drafts up here for the next two picks. If they look like they're going to aggressively try lane, and this smells like an aggressive try lane, I'm not sure yet. But I feel like Team Empire would do well to go and pick a hero that could try lane with the Lifestealer and the Keeper of the Light, and allow Nature's Prophet to go into that long lane if things get really bad. Because if the Nature's Prophet's in the jungle while Team Empire is getting aggressively tri-lane, the Keeper of the Light's fantastic, but not in a 3v2 situation. Eventually, the numbers just become a little bit too much, and Nature's Prophet cannot really add anything to fights at early levels. Also, you know, it's just comes down to mind games here. If the Nature's Prophet is solo against whatever solo hero Dignitas picks, they'll be in a very good position. Nature's Prophet does fantastically. It's just a lot of damage coming out from that hero. Great stat growth. Okay, so yeah. So that's going to be a long lane Nature's Prophet. They've picked up the Enchantress, and again, this weakens their tri-lane a little bit, but Enchantress has a lot more to offer in terms of, you know, early level lane protection. And Enchantress plus Keeper of the Light, that's a ton of pressure that you can put out at level 1, and that's you can actually mow down towers fairly quickly if they go for something like a fast Basilius. Then with Nature's Prophet TPing in at level 2, with that teleport, with that Nature's Call, they can go and mow down towers quite quickly. It's not ideal. You're still going against a Puck, you're going against a Clockwork, that's a lot of nuking damage to go and kind of delay pushes, but those aren't going to be high enough level in the early game when Enchantress is really that strong.
This is going to get very interesting very quickly. These are dynamic lineups, something that you wouldn't, like 2 weeks ago, you wouldn't say, this team will work really well in this 5 composition. I mean, these are very unorthodox, but as far as I can tell, they really want to go on that aggressive tri-lane. I mean, Owie 2000 is picking up the Visage, for crying out loud. So I think they want to run a purely supportive mindset, aggressive tri-lane. Maybe put Weaver on the safe lane solo and Fogged on the mid with Puck. Setting it up in that kind of a setting will make sure that they can continuously put that pressure out on Lifestealer. I mean, Godblack on the Enchantress does thwart that just a little bit, make sure that they're gonna have a more of a rough time trying to maneuver around, because she has the enchant slow to set things up. She has the potential to really move in with some powerful neutrals and try to at least use like a Dark Troll Summoner and Snare to set up that Keeper Light Illuminate. And from there, if the damage does come across, Dignitas is going to have some issues here and there, but they have such a powerful tri-lane, and I'm curious to see if it's going to be U-Bomb or Problematic that's going to be on the front lines here in the tri-lane.
Yeah, I'm really not quite sure exactly how they're going to lane this, but I will say this. Owie's Visage is actually really strong. I've seen him played in a scrim, and I've seen him just like pub with it a lot. He is a good mastery of that hero, and he definitely knows what he's doing, and I think this is something we're seeing more and more from teams these days, especially Team Liquid, I think, is kind of the exemplars of this. You go and have your players be able to play multiple roles. That kind of just messes with the other team. They're never quite sure what's going to happen, and it leaves you a lot of flexibility in your drafts, and I'm glad to see we're seeing other teams such as Dignitas pick up on that mentality. Looks like there's going to be a little bit of just, you know, idle banter, I suppose, coming up in the top jungle. They're just going, looking at each other, waving, and then just getting out, because neither team really wants to engage. While there is that cask, while there is that perhaps level 1 cogs, it's not necessarily a fight you're going to win.
Yeah, it's a little bit dicey on both counts. If they get a really good Paralyzing Cask off, Dignitas can just completely destroy this, and of course Way Too Sexy could follow that up with Cogs or BA and just really be able to dish out quite a bit of damage here. But it looks like this was the lanes that I was talking about. Puck on the mid, they're going to have Universe down on bottom, just shooking on through with regen, just kind of claiming it, not really caring one way or another. But with Enchantress, Godblack not having any wards here, is he just going to go aggressive jungle and If so, how is the top lane going to survive? I mean, this is a lifestealer and a keeper light duo versus one of the most aggressive tri lines I've seen. I mean, this lineup is purely about kills, purely about making sure the lifestealer can't get an inch of farm, and the Enchantress is just giving it up.
Yeah. I'm not quite sure what they're going to do here because there's no way that Blow Your Brain's going to get any farm in this lane. And it's not even that he has like, okay, it looks like they're going to go and that cask is going to bounce, but no, not quite enough. Yep.
Yeah, if it bounced back, that'd be a different story, but no, he's just taking too much there. Still has that rage available in the worst case scenario, but didn't feel too pressured there. A couple things to keep in mind is the wards that came out from Dignitas, blocking off not only the pole camp, but also the hard camp in the east. And that would make Enchantress less willing to commit to that kind of area if they don't have the sentry wards right off the bat, which obviously they don't. Checking out the inventory is not a single one is looking into sentries, and that's pretty much giving away the creep camps there and just responding. But that kind of lets Dignitas into the driver's seat right off the bat. It says, okay, well, we can control not only where the lanes are going to be, where you're going to have to be farming and how much pressure we're going to be putting out there, but on top of that, telling the Enchantress where she's going to be maneuvering just based on the fact that the poles are blocked. And
Fogg is making a play on mid. He's going in, bashing down stand, and I think he might actually be able to. Nope, Blink is up in time. Well, but yeah, just forcing him back. The bottle is up on stand-in, though, so I think he'll be fine.
Yep. VV. I haven't figured out too much as far as who that individual is, but wow, Universe going so aggressive on Scandal. Has that Gemini attack. Well, 2 more right clicks is all he needs, but he only gets one. One last one. He's juking nicely in the trees, but it looks like U-Bomb is instead. Universe is just going to get first blooded. He gets ensnared. He can't maneuver on through around those trees, and despite the unit walking potential, Godblack is there to save the day, so works out nicely for them, and I'm curious to see if he expected Godblack to be in that position at all, but went so aggressive and could have paid off, but unfortunately, yeah, that Enchantress was counter-initiating very effectively. Queen of Ped taking the Invisorin up top, allows her to control up against Fog just a little bit more, but his bottle is now on the way, and from there he's going to spam out lots of different abilities back and forth, and although that orb has a pretty substantial cooldown, he still will be able to dish out a lot of damage. We do see initiation of Blow Your Brain, but once again the cask bounces to the creeps, not back to the lifestealer, and it feels like Tides is just kind of trying to get pokes and prods here and there, but knowing that he would pretty much have to pray to the RNG gods to actually make that work out for him as for a kill.
Yeah, that's definitely true, but I think that, he's definitely doing the right thing. He's pressuring the lane, and secondly, your mana regens, right? So they just, it's a free roll. They're going to go and cast it whenever they think there's a decent chance of it working out. And if it doesn't work out, you're not really losing that much. He's going to have the cask available. He's never dropping down to critical amounts of mana. And then, I think that Blow Your Brain's going to be fine here. He's got to be, yeah. With Rage, he's going to be perfectly all right. But it doesn't hurt Tides very much. He still has the cask available defensively. He's still got, access into that Voodoo Restoration if he really wants it. And the lane's going fairly well for him. Looks like there's a little pause coming out from Fogg, who... yeah, he's actually doing quite well in the mid lane. He's losing a little bit to the Queen of Pain. That early damage is definitely helping him out. I think he's got a bottle on the courier. Yep, just bottle crowing a bit, and that's just, 2 or 3 years ago, you wouldn't see this in the European scene at all, or the NA scene for that matter. You wouldn't see anyone bottle crow who is considered to be a purely, Filipino Pinoy Dota trademark. But now it's just everyone's embraced it. They're just seeing that, you don't necessarily have to go and pick all these, super, super strong 1v1 heroes. You can go and pick heroes, rely on the fact that you're going to have, near infinite health and mana, and just spam push out waves that allow you to go and get heroes like, I think the best example is Brewmaster. Brewmaster cannot actually go 1v1 against any hero. But with his Stomp, he can go and manage the lane just a little bit better and just allow him to get those levels. So, just cool changes in Dota. I think the game has definitely evolved. In the meantime, it seems like, oh man, this is really irritating.
Yeah, going on in, they do have way too sexy right on top of Silent. He's in a terrible spot, and he's one of those heroes that just can't survive. No escape, no survivability, 1 kill up on top lane, and Blow Your Brain is pretty much just watching. Actually trying to counter-initiate. Scandal does come in, Tides is low, is healing over time, has that cell. Can he actually survive through this? No. Too much right-click damage, and Nature's Prophet takes a kill. Blow Your Brain still in pursuit, but with that long cooldown of open wounds, Grave Chill peeling him off. It's going to be rely on the Queen of Pain to jump on in, screaming on through, but no Shadow Strike just yet. Getting pushed back by the cogs, and it looks like both are going to get out A-okay here. So transition in from Queen of Pain, not to great effect, but they did at least get a 1-for-1 exchange on the Witch Doctor.
Yeah, and I think that's the shade they'll definitely make, because losing your coddle is bad, but getting an extra kill on that Nature's Prophet is very relevant. And just more damage he gets early, the more kills he gets early, the more he can go and be a dominant force in that mid-game. I'm curious to see what kind of build he go for here. If he's going for that Midas, I wouldn't be terribly surprised. It's just more farm they can get on the map, and also if they go for some sort of double Midas strategy on Blow Your Brain and Nature's Prophet, it basically secures them the late game. Weaver does scale well, Puck does scale well, but besides that, Dignitas, not fantastic in the late game. Cogs is always going to be good, but if you're going against a double Midas, even these heroes that aren't, the hardest carries in the world, like Nature's Prophet and Nyx, they'll do just fine.
Yeah, I feel that Empire might want to put out a little more pressure than that. What we're looking at with Blow Your Brain, his farm is currently sitting at only 7 CS, so that Midas is not only it's just a very, very long way away. With Boots and Magic Stick to just try to keep him alive, he wouldn't be looking at one before 14 minutes, and from there, it's going to, I mean, it's not that bad of a deal, but people emphasize the cooldown of Midas a lot, and although that is relevant, it's the bigger deal is how long it's going to take to get that next big item, and if you're delaying that long, and actually we do see some, just harassment, but yeah, if he's taken 14-15 minutes to get a Midas in the first place, and then he's going to be looking at an armlet or something along those lines, it's going to be a long, long way to that 2,700 gold after the fact. So I think they need to be more active and more combat ready before that comes into play, and I think that one Midas is plenty if they even look for that for the Nature's Prophet.
And it does not seem... Well, we'll see what the Nature's Prophet's going for there. It seems there's going to be a little bit of a wraparound here, and I'm curious to see what this Cuddle's doing, because really, he's coming around with the rest of the team, but he should be looking to go and blast these camps, because if he can actually go and steal those big creeps, that puts him way ahead, and Dignitas
big
Aoi is
initiation
going to
on
be in a bad
yeah.
spot.
There's going to Centaur Clap to follow. The Illuminate damage is just going to be too much, and he's going to drop down. Now, way too sexy. Falling back from here. Orb of Venom up on Blow Your Brain, so it shows he really wants to be aggressive. Moving in for some early harassment. And although the cogs are really nice, way too sexy is just trapped on in, can't get out. And now Universe is going to pursue onto Silent, who's in a really bad spot. And with the Geminate and the Shooky doing a lot of damage, it looks like he's probably going to get dropped down here. And also Queen of Pain jumping on in. Again, be able to bring down the Witch Doctor. Now Universe wants to try to clean this up. He still has one Shooky left. Going through Shackle. Scandal is probably going to drop down here. Nice juke, though. Oh, he jukes onto the trees, but inevitably gets found out. Blow Your Brain. Dueling out between the two mids, Fogged and VV. The Dream Coil does come on through, and that should be the death of the Queen of Pain. Nice ultimate popped off. The phase shift to keep him alive for a little bit, but the Wrath of Nature plus one more right click will do the trick here. Now, I believe the Nature's Attendance allows them to disengage, but Blow Your Brain's not done. He knows he has Infest, and he wants to use it, but too much Grave Chill, too much damage. He gets the Infest off just barely. And that is one safe kind of armored car of an Enchantress to just let him walk on out of that battlefield. But he was playing a very, very risky move there.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, but it definitely paid off in the same set, because if you look at this, now it's a level 6 lifestealer. He went and got experience for all those kills. He didn't die. And he's kind of salvaged his position. He's definitely not where he wants to be in an ideal game, but he's got Phase, he's got Orb of Venom, and you're right, he wants to play super aggressive. I wouldn't be surprised if we see something like the FNC build here, where he goes for those Phase drums and then goes into the armlet, so he gets even more pressure in the mid game, and he's allowed to tank up a little bit with that Bracer.
Meanwhile, Witch Doctor's not getting too much. Tides really seems to just be dropping down at the beginning of every single engagement. He's a focused target, and that heal over time of his W is really not changing things too much. So the Voodoo Restoration, it helps out a little bit here and there, but the fights are just concluding, at least for on his part, very, very too quickly. So he's not really able to stay in the fight for prolonged periods of time and make use of that skill choice, and instead he's just getting bursted down, and I think that's a good focus for Empire. Using the Illuminate, using the slows from Lifesteal and Queen of Pain to really set that kind of play up. But we see them keep on changing up their strategy, keep Dignitas on their toes, as it were, as Blow Your Brain comes on down, Scandal's down here, Godblack is too, and actually initiating once again onto Tides of Time. And although he can juke around the trees with that Wrath of Nature, that's a lot of damage to come on out, and now Blow Your Brain's going to be able to open wounds up and finish him off, or just right-click because of Impetus, and it's amazing, real large amount of pure damage. So now we have Queen of Pain coming on in with a Haste Rune, and they're going to look for Universe. As far as detection goes, though, they still don't have anything. No sentries, no dust. They're really not focused on trying to bring him down. They're like, okay, we can just push things up. He does have a mana pool to work with, but we still have tons of HP to tank up with the Nature's Call, with the Centaur Conqueror, so they're going to be able to bring this down quick.
Yeah, I mean, Centaur Conqueror, he has a great little, that attack speed aura coming out for the treants. It makes
big deny by Universe. Now we see the TP coming in on Aoi, big damage coming on through, but it looks like he might drop. No, Blow Your Brain is going to fall back from here. Big damage from Fog. Oh my gosh, there's another stun coming out. Stoneform from the Gargoyles going on in towards Godblack, trying to bring him down, but it looks like Tides of Time will drop. However, Universe's chase potential, along with that Soul Assumption, is going to be sufficient for Fog's double kill and cleaning up for 4-for-1, a trade that Tides of Time is very willing to make.
You know, I just took the time to go and look at this Weaver's items, and I think Universe has 2 Sage's Masks, and I think the only time we see this kind of build-up is when you are, in fact, going for an Orchid. This is very common at heroes like Clinks, I can't really imagine Orchid being that great on Weaver just because of the nature of Geminate attack. You don't really care about your attack speed because you're going to get that double attack every, 2.5 seconds anyway once you level it up. So just flat damage is generally considered better. Also, you spend a lot of your time in Sakuchi, so there's a lot of time where you're not attacking.
Yeah, he's
But
doing it.
excuse me?
Yeah, I wasn't sure, honestly, because he had the Sage's Mask early on. One thing that's common for Weaver to do in the lane is a swap with Disassembly between Tranquil Boots and the Ring of Basilius to have mana and HP really, really high up. But with that Quarterstaff, that definitely signals that he's going for that Orchid. Not looking for a Medallion or anything tricky like that. He wants to go for Big Silence. Wants to get solo kills on the Queen of Pain. It's pretty much exactly what he's looking at there.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's definitely, it's a utility item in this game. Like, that's not the item that Weaver would want. You'd rather have a crit, you'd rather have, in theory, a Radiance or something, just like big damage items. But it is and the hook misses. But that's fine. But they do need the lockdown. They do want the additional lockdown, and I think this is a fairly dead low room, but nope, with Infest and no detection, it should be fine.
So that, looking at him, he actually hasn't been farming up much at all. Like a couple of auto right clicks from Universe, and he can go on through. But it looks like they want to try to jump in with Scandal, possibly. He's popping off the Wrath of Nature. He has a teleport, but again, no detection makes it pretty much impossible to bring him down. So dueling back and forth, it's going to be Lifesteal that takes the worst end of that exchange, especially since the Weaver again has Tranquil Boots and can just keep his health pool up constantly. However, we do see a lot of pressure up on the top lane. Doubt another deny. No, second deny. Owie using the familiars with almost max charges on their auto attacks. Means that he can easily get that deny himself, and that just really, really has to. It kind of stops Empires in their tracks. They're going for this big push momentum. They got the Enchantress, Keeper of the Light, and the Nature's Prophet. All of them great pushers, but they're not getting any tower last hits. They're getting the tower kills they're getting the towers off the board, gaining map control, but the amount of gold that they're getting out of it is inconsequential to how much that will be inevitably coming through for Dignitas once they start pushing the same towers.
And it's really easy to think of that in the abstract, but like if you look at items, right? Imagine if they had actually got those two towers instead of the denies. Nature's Prophet, he'd probably have his Midas by now. The Keeper of the Light, probably a finished Buckler instead of that Magic Wand. They could have, really increased their overall farm and just really hurting them. In the meantime, Weaver's getting dangerously close to that Orchid, and once he gets that, it's going to be very difficult for, them to engage. What's this poor Enchantress going to do with 796 HP when he gets silenced? What's, Queen of Pain going to do with 720 HP? Wait, does this Enchantress have more HP than Queen of Pain? That's really...
Big damage coming on to Scandal. With those, the little beetles, the Swarm, doing negative armor. Scandal gets trapped on inside with him. Wouldn't have helped him out anyways. He had the vision, but just trying to set up Blow Your Brain to bring him down. But again, no detection. He's just going to TP on away. Knows he can't bash him, stun him out or anything, and just walking out of that position with a free kill intact. And getting kills on the Nature's Prophet. We talked about Midas go, okay, we have initiation again, and it's going to be Silent, pulled on inside the cogs. Nice Blinding Light to pull him on out, but Fogged is here, raring to go, and he is just dishing out quite a bit of damage to finish it off without even popping off the Dream Coil. Enchantress coming on in. Godlike does get a big impetus off. Fogged needs to do a perfect jaunt here. Phase and jaunts into the trees to TP on out. Perfect play by him, and that gets him another free kill. VV really wanted that, but not going to happen, unfortunately.
Yeah, just a little bit, sad timing there. I don't think VV played anything wrong. He just couldn't do anything about it. Now, Universe going in, farming on the bot lane, just giving a lot of harass to Blow Your Brain. Look how much Weaver is chunking the Lifestealer, and that's not a position the Lifestealer wants to be in. However, Nyx is in fact going for that Django build. He's already got the Bracer in his inventory, and they can use that to pressure more towers, but I just don't know if that's going to end up working for them. At this point, the nukes are maxed. That's a level 4 Rocket Flare, that's a level 4 Illusory Orb, and they can just go and push back creep waves fairly easily. If this was going well, this would be the part where, Empire would have gained an advantage and they could kind of slow down the game and force Dignitas to engage on them. But with those two denies, with them being behind in kills, they're not able to really exert that kind of global map presence they'd really like to have. Instead, they're really playing on the back foot. The Nyx has no place to farm because the Weaver can follow him in and just, completely shut him down. They have to play super careful for this clock initiation. He's just chilling smoked mid. And on top of that, Fogged is, only 700 gold away from that Blink Dagger. And once that Blink Dagger gets up in about probably what's going to be, 2 minutes, it's going to be even harder for them to do anything.
Yeah. And Universe is just happily farming away. He does have that second Oblivion Staff finished up, so he's just going to be finishing out that Orchid recipe, and that's when the pressure is really on. Empire doesn't really have too much to work with here, and one thing that I would say is probably highly underrated is silences against Lifestealer. If you silence him out and he can't outrage, he doesn't get that attack speed boost, he cannot be immune to the slows like Grave Chill and the mini stuns of Battery Assault. So by popping off an Orchid, a Waning Rift, that kind of thing, and delaying his rage state, it means that he will actually be very, very vulnerable during a team fight, even with the drum for a little bit of durability. So that sets it up so that he actually in a team fight is quite vulnerable compared to most carries. He relies on that rage so much, and instead that's not really going to be an option if the initiation is appropriate from Universe onto Blow Your Brain. So yeah, he's going for a good build right now with the drum. He's trying to get some durability, some mobility, but inevitably if they put their focus in the right direction, Lifesteal is going to have a rough time here.
Yeah, and I believe that, Clockwork, being played by Way2, I believe, is getting dangerously close to that mechanism. And once that mech gets up, I don't think there's going to be a way that Empire can teamfight anymore. The damage is a little bit too low. It's very bursty. You'd normally think that, with Queen of Pain, with the Keeper of the Light Blast, with the Prophet ult, they could go and bring someone down, but their levels are just a little bit too low. If they're able to get that mechanism before there's level 11s coming up on the Empire side, I think they can just go for towers, they can go for Roche, and it's going to be very, very hard for Empire to contest that.
It looks like Empire, however, wants to go towards the late game. Scandal picking up that Midas. Like I said, it's delayed, and therefore the biggest issue will be how soon he can get his next big item. Whether it's a Scythe of Ice or just an Orchid, counter Orchid, I guess. I don't know. It's just like they don't really have anybody durable to carry up a gem, so they're going to be constantly worried about how much money they have to put into Universe to deward and counter out his invisibility. Meanwhile, Puck's picking up big items like the Blink Dagger. They have the Clockworks mechanism coming forth, and they're going to be able to initiate long range with that. And speaking of, Silent getting swarmed up, Orchided on, and although the Blinding Light will come, the question is how deep Universe wants to go. Apparently not too deep, as he takes out half the HP of the Keeper of the Light before just trying to roam on out, but Hasted Queen of Pain pursuing on through, and Universe has to TP right this very second. Otherwise, actually, again, one thing I was I've mentioned before, but it's one thing is Empire doesn't really have the hard stuns. They don't really have big disables. We've seen so many times where the Dignitas has just been able to TP on out. We've seen it with the Puck, with the Weaver just now. Those kind of situations, it's just they don't really, even if they were close by, there's not really too much they could do. They don't have a Scythe of Ice. The Blinding Light will not cancel a channel. The Witch Doctor is going to be able to get that full death ward off as long as he's not bursted down too hard. The only thing they really have to stop them is Enchantress's neutral creeps. And now it looks like Enchantress is going to have a really bad time of things. The Grave Chill, the Soul Assumption, that is going to be one big Soul Assumption coming on out. Actually, he has it rank 3, so we'll see. But the one thing is those Stone Forms aren't available, so they do Clock Hook, and they get it. So, way too sexy, finding an easy opportunity after that TP, and picking off an Enchantress again. So that just really, really sets it up. Look at the gold graph. It seems really back and forth here, but a lot of that is tower denies, and now that Dignitas, after losing 2 towers, is on top, and now putting out the initiation, actually, missing the Waning Rift means that Queen of Pain could easily escape on out of that, but nevertheless, they have a really relentless control. They have 3 kill advantage, they have a ton of last hit advantage, and now they're pushing in towards tier 1, and this might be the first legitimate tower kill of the game.
Yeah, I think so. This is actually, they're going to be able to push down this tower, and I can't imagine that they're going to be able to defend, even with that Queen of Pain ultimate rally. And oh, look, Fog coming in with that silence, with that Blink Dagger. Are they going to be able to make anything happen here? And I believe it's just going to be some intimidation there. Yeah, VVV, or rather VV, just blinking away quite happily.
Yeah, they can only do so much in that situation. I mean, they have some, comparatively speaking, they have a ton more hard stuns, but unless the familiars can actually get in the right position to bring down the opposition, then it's really, they're not going to get the Stone Forms. It has a little bit of delay. You have to actually get them in the right spot at the right time. So unless they're trying to outmaneuver around cliffs and trees, it's generally going to be a situation where you're not going to have the movement speed you need comparatively. Now, Fog does have that blink, uses it to try to escape on out. Tides is on the flank, maybe wants to go for a big, big cast right here, but instead it's going to be way too sexy, taking too much damage. They're going to try to counter-initiate, but the clock has already fallen. Now doing a lot of damage onto the Queen of Pain. She will, no, Stoneform doesn't come out in time. Instead, they're initiating onto Godblock. A lot of Death Ward damage. The Orchid and a little bit more right-click will finish it off. Queen of Pain, VV on the run, and we'll be able to actually just TP on away. So the pursuit still continues on across Scandal, popping up the Illuminate. No, the Sprout and Illuminate both miss, and Scandal gonna get dropped here, actually getting the right-click despite the miss. Or, I believe that was the case anyways. Either way, he was able to time-lapse away, safely out of the tower range. And good Sentry Ward means he's not even visible at this point. So now, Blow Your Brain puts some damage on the tower, will get its own last hit on the tower, but again, 1 for 3, not exactly their best ratio there, going up to bat on the towers there.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely not what they wanted. However, Lifestealer, he's got 2,700 gold. That means he's got a completed armlet, and it's flying to him that they finally have a chance to really engage in fights. I think that last fight is what they needed to do. They had caught off the Clockwork on his own. He wasn't really able to get a profitable mechanism off. He wasn't able to get a profitable cogs off. And in that kind of fight, they can do something. Also, the Weaver. I feel that, Universe, he's been playing fantastically, but he's kind of been playing solo, and it's ended up being like a brood mother. The reason you get the Orchid is so that, they need to send at least 2 people to your lane to kill you, and otherwise you'll just keep pushing. But the problem is, Weaver can't push as fast as brood mother, so I almost feel it would be better to go and put this item to use in team fights, to go and use it to go and get those quap pickoffs, and ooh, they're being a little bit cheeky here. And
yeah,
I
they would
think
just
that,
flip tower. Oh, now
yeah,
Dream
well,
Coil, they're going to go for more. He's going to try to TP away, and they don't really have anything after the Dream Coil, but it's just enough damage. They actually get it to work despite the Blinding Light hitting on them, so that actually finishes the job there very nicely, and now they can pretty much go wherever they want. If they find Godblack out, easy hookshot from the Clockwork, they pretty much anywhere that they have vision of the enemy, they can jump on in and initiate nicely. Queen of Pain is the target of choice for the moment. Nice initiation on Blow Your Brain as well, trying to cox him out of the battle. Works very, very nicely. Phase shifting out of the Sonic Wave means U-Bomb will take the damage, but we'll just tank it up and keep going. VV going to drop down to that last right click now. Universe trying to finish off on Godblack. Way Too Sexy might drop down here. Atos from the high ground. Atos coming down on Godblack, and I think he might fall after the Orchid. No, not going to happen there. Blow Your Brain, nice armlet toggle, but gets Cog back out, and the Familiar just bring him down. However, Way Too Sexy will not get that cheeky TP out with the Eliminate from the high ground. So that was very, very back and forth there. Hard to tell what's a Waning Rift and what's a Orchid at this point, but it's really just interesting how these guys can just pick apart the team fights and go so balls to the walls aggressive. They're figuring out that they can just jump in these kinds of 5v5 skirmishes, and although they don't get complete clean sweeps, they're still coming out on top. A tier 1 tower kill followed by multiple kills across the lane. They're sitting at a 7-1-5 Weaver, and they couldn't be happier.
Yeah, and also look at this item choice. This Weaver's actually going for a Manta style, so I think he's not planning to join fights anytime soon and just going to continue. This could theoretically be a Lincoln's, but I don't think it's going to be Lincoln's after Orchid. I don't think that build gives you enough damage. But with a Manta style, that means that Weaver can push aggressively. That turns him into a build your own broodmother. Like, if you can't have one bug, you might as well get the other, and it's working out pretty well for Dignitas here. I also, Universe and Aoi have both been kind of extolling the virtue of getting. Aoi was the first one to actually get Manta style on broodmother herself. And they've both been extolling that item for a very long time, and just the fact is it gives you more move speed, which on Weaver, even though you're, max move speed most of the time, it's still relevant. And the additional pushing presence and the additional damage in teamfights, especially when you think that you have multiple targets with bugs on them.
Bug on Scandal, Death Ward comes out, that should be enough to bring him down. So they get a really, really cheeky gank off there. It definitely wasn't something he'd see coming, but the Invis on Tides worked out for him.
Yeah, well, I didn't see that one coming either. And it looks like they're going to get top tower for free. These familiars are doing a lot of work with them. And, Aoi, with that Atos, he's pretty hard to kill, especially with that Grave. Now he's getting points in Gravekeeper's Cloak. It's going to be even worse. And Tide's in a awful spot.
Yeah.
I don't know why he thought he could be there. But,
I thought he was going to do some nice sentry stuff, but we do see Dream Coil and Orchid and Waning, everything they need to do to initiate, but the Clockwork does miss his ultimate there. Nice heal over time from Godblack keeps him alive for the moment. Puck will drop down to Blow Your Brain. The Aegis pops off with VV activate. Big Illuminate going on through. Aoi dropping down very, very quickly, and he might just send out one last Soul Scepter before dropping down himself. On the run is Universe, and he will be able to avoid anything but the death of the Courier, which they were actually able to pick off. But from here, Universe just has to TP to safety because he really doesn't have much other option. Unless he, I mean, there's really not too much else that he would do. I'm not sure why he's still there. I guess he thought I could tranquil up, but he's not going to find a 1v1 opportunity here, and he's just going to get on out of there.
Yeah, I mean, just happily leaving. And I think that fight just happened because they, tried to defend Tides there. He was just in a little bit bad of position. He did have that sentry on him. He was trying to look to counter ward. But one of the problems when you go counter warding is they can see you. So, especially with the initiation range of Queen of Pain and Nature's Prophet, I think that was a little bit greedy and a fair bit unnecessary. They kind of gave Empire some breathing room where I don't think they needed to. With that Aegis, with that one team fight, Empire's a lot closer than they have been at any other time this game. They're not in a good position by any means. If you look at the gold graph, if you look at the experience, but if you look at the gold graph, they're behind. But if you look at the experience graph, they've finally managed to catch up. They have a not a significant experience lead, but it's a lot better than they could have been doing.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, just these little bits here and there. As far as who scales best in the late game, it's kind of hard to call. Weaver is an amazing carry, but he's not been building like a super hard carry. Universe has been, for kind of a solo pickoff, he's kind of been building like a Clink. So I wouldn't be entirely surprised to see a crit built up after either this Manta or Lincoln's comes out. But either way, it's just that he has a lot of late game potential. Geminate delivering a lot of huge right click damage. But if Lifestealer can get very, very beefy, if he can get maybe a heart on board, then he's able to stay in the fight for a very long time, get multiple rages off, as it's only, I believe, a 15-second cooldown. Yeah, so that could set him up so nicely that Empire can just start, really, really striking back. And we do also see. Yeah, sorry about the terrible pun there, but along with that, we also see them more utilizing their range of initiation, like we were talking about. The Queen of Pain jumping all over where she needs to. They have the vision, they want to use it, and I feel that if Empire starts actually playing on the aggressor, acting as that, then Nature's Prophet inside with the Lifestealer using the Blink of Queen of Pain, etc., they can jump in and find those pickoffs, and I don't think that necessarily Universe is the one they want to go for there because of his invisibility and the fact that they haven't been very effective in countering that, but it's still, if they can find an opening, if they can find somebody by themselves other than Universe, they definitely can be looking to go on it. Oh, Atos on Queen of Pain, what's up with that? I guess they're just trying to pressure her back for the moment, popping off that blink, but it is only a 3-second cooldown remaining, so she's going to be able to come in and counter-initiate on this. They're all grouping up for this 5v5 mid. Universe is here, raring to go, but Open Wounds is up on Tides. There is big initiation from Fog, hidden on 3 now. Blow Your Brain finishes off the Witch Doctor, too early for that Death Ward. Universe trapped inside the Sprout, has the time lapse out, and now on the front lines, VV just doing so much damage, bringing down Way Too Sexy, or there is all across the map. They're spreading out like crazy, but Universe pursuing on Godblack might be able to finish him off. Step back down here. It looks like the Sonic Wave was actually able to finish off Way Too Sexy. Chasing for a long time, but Universe dropping to 50 HP. Holy crap, this fight is very split up, but it's just these little exchanges back and forth, and if Queen of Pain gets the scream off, she will kill him. Just needs to close in the distance. But, oh, barely out of range. Universe turns around with the Orchid, dishing out the damage, and man, VV is so close. It doesn't get the kill, though, and now they have to retreat. Scandal really can't compete without that kind of detection. So really cheeky play from Universe, and he actually pays off for him. Oh my gosh, Blow Your Brain on the southwestern part of the fight, as it was just so chaotic. But Blow Your Brain was dropping down to very critical HP, but got the infest off, survived, and baited Way Too Sexy into his death, despite having pretty good durability here. So I think that was... Yeah, you go for it.
Oh yeah, I think that entire fight basically came down to the VV's excellent itemization. He went for that BKB, and that meant, they dove on him to get that Dream Coil on, and that put the Puck and the Weaver in kind of an awful position. But he just immediately BKB'd, went to the front lines and helped the Lifestealer out and gave the Lifestealer a ton of additional damage. And with that, they were actually able to win a fight that really they had no right to win. And also, just, the fact that they weren't able to burst down the Keeper Light quite quickly enough with that, he had about like a 12 charge wand and a mechanism that was just enough to keep him alive long enough that he was able to get off all his spells. And Dignitas is playing really aggressively here. I think they're trying to force an issue where they don't necessarily have to. But if they keep losing fights like this, eventually it's going to come to a point where they do have to force the issue. Now Lifestealer is getting very close to a Desolator, and with that Desolator, he's going to mow down this poor Tides of Time. And I gotta say, every single fight that I see Dignitas go into, it seems like Tides is getting caught, and then they are going in to try to go and not rescue him, but take that opportunity with, Rage Down, with Open Wounds being used, to go and pick a fight. But the thing about Cast that makes it amazing is it's got a 14-second cooldown, so that you can actually, feasibly get it off 2 times in one fight. If Tides is able just to kind of go, stay back, go and counter-initiate with a really nice with a really nice cast, go and get off a Death Ward, even, that's going to be what wins them fights. He needs to go and not be in such aggressive positions. Oh, it seems like there's going to be a pick-off.
No, they were looking for it, but they had the Rocket Flare on the Enchantress, but Godblack is able to just narrowly escape that hook shot. So not getting the initiation now. Scandal wanting to come on in, but they need a little bit more vision to know what they're going on up against here. Blow Your Brain tries to defend this tower. It gets denied by the Keeper Light. Now, both of these familiars in a desperate position, but Universe is the target of choice for the moment. Blow Your Brain taking a lot of damage, can't rage. Atos and Orchid did too much damage, will survive for the moment. Big Queen of Pain ultimate. Owie dropping a lot of damage across the board, but it looks like Way Too Sexy is going to fall. That BKB expires for VV, but is he infested up? I can't even tell right now, but just too much damage going across. It looks like he is infested, but they are now changing the target to Godblack, just trying to force him down. They do have the cast coming up. As you said, it's pretty short CD, going to stun him up, but it looks like Universe got distracted, looking for Scandal, not going to oh, big stone form, canceling out the TP, he's gone. Now looking for Blow Your Brain, but he's earned up to safety. Universe, how deep is he going to dive? Not that deep, and it looks like he misses uphill anyways. VV in pursuit, but without any mana. Can't really change the course of what's happened here. Up on top, not exactly sure what the ping.
Scandal by bot, yeah.
Yeah.
So he just bought back and TV'd up there, and I'm not sure why. Like, there was really no reason But, perhaps he just wants to clear it up, and it's not like the buyback's going to be tremendously expensive. It cost him about 800 gold, and he can farm that back fairly quickly. He just wants to keep the lanes pushed out so that Weaver can continue to pressure. Weaver also finished that Mantis style, but didn't really have a good chance to pop at that fight. Probably wanted to disjoin something and never really got the opportunity. But one thing to know is if Weaver doesn't get a BKB, or preferably an MKB pretty soon, it's going to be very hard for him to do anything orchided.
Yeah,
nice.
The hookshot's going to clear this, no problem at all. As long as they right-clicker, there we go.
Yeah.
I think your BKB was on cooldown too. That's one of the issues with a higher charge BKB. It was on 8 seconds, and therefore it was also on a 70-second cooldown instead of like the 55 that you see when it goes down to its lowest duration. So finding that opportunity where they could orchid her and bring her down before the BKB was off cooldown was an easy pickoff for Way 2 and Universe combined together. Now looking for Blow Your Brain. They do get the cogs here, so they're going to kind of duel it out, but Way 2 Sexy's taking so much damage, and now they have the reinforcements, so I don't think that Way 2 Sexy can get on out of here. Orb of Venom slow helping him out. Atos, nice. Atos play the infest though. Perfect radius, able to drop him down and clear up a familiar too on the northern end though, using it kind of as bait. They're trying to capitalize on that over-aggression. However, it doesn't look like they can. Just too much here. Universe is going to have to fall back here. Nice fog play, initiating so that Silent can be dropped down, but Blow Your Brain still in the front lines, just brawling away at the Weaver. Universe really has to play cat and mouse, just jump in and out here. Another one-shot on the familiars, and the Swarm hits on pretty much nothing, so that's a big, big loss, but Fog goes in, is able to finish off the carry. The Lifestealer gets dropped down, and Blow Your Brain, unfortunately, won't be able to clean up this fight, so they're falling back from here, but I gotta say that was very, very effective initiation from Fogged. However, Scandal does get the Sprout off on Owie, and with VV here to finish it off, that seems like it's gonna be 100% dead Visage. So, I guess it technically, at the end of it, is relatively even. The biggest issue there is that Blow Your Brain did drop. He got picked off by Fog there, got cleaned up, and he needs to be farming. He does have his Desolator now, but he still needs to get some big strength items.
Yeah, I think that, while that's true, we're seeing how much damage Nyx can do without those items, and even as long as someone's getting items, right? If the Lifestealer kind of settles back now, doesn't really get a lot of chance to farm, but the Prophet and the Queen of Pain are able to make up for it. If they go and provide enough presence, that's 3 sources of damage coming out from Team Empire. The problem with Team Dignitas is they only really have one. Also, I gotta say that this Clockwork's item progression here, he's going for that point booster, which is probably the most efficient health and mana item that you can get in the game, just in terms of slots and cost. But he desperately needs something like a Ghost Scepter this game, because we saw how quickly he got shredded by that Lifestealer. So if he doesn't go and get a Ghost Scepter, if he doesn't, even a Blade Mail would be absolutely fantastic this game, especially when you consider the amount of AoE coming out from that Queen of Pain ulti, from that Caudal Illuminate Blast, from the Furion ulti. There's a lot of instances where he can basically return that damage, but Point Booster is just not going to be enough, especially, if you get more HP, Feast is just going to make you a lot sadder.
Onto Goblack should be an easy pick off here, though. The Blinding Light does push them away. He does mech up, still wants to get those attendants, but only just now getting out Silence, the finishing off of the Soul Assumption. VV does pop off that ulti on Way 2 Sexy to try to clean him up, and he is down, like you said, very, very squishy. Drops down and is going to die. Now we do see the Infest up on the front lines, but Sheep comes out from Fog, trying to turn things around, but they really don't have a fight to take here. Popping off a little bit of counter initiation here and there. Does get a double Dream Coil. Blow Your Brain low. Does orchid him up, and so the Armlet won't be enough to keep him alive here. Scandal trying to do some damage to Universe, but he just Shookies on through. Now bursting him down hardcore with the Geminate. He will get another kill, and they take a fight where I thought that they really could follow up, but Empire, having exhausted all their cooldowns, really didn't have much more to work with, and just 3 simple heroes, Owie, Fogged, and the Universe on the Weaver really just did what they needed to actually clean that up 100%.
Yeah, that was the kind of fight that Dignitas loves, because if you have a Weaver, you want these kind of drawn, spread out engagements where you can get a lot of Sakuchis, you can get a lot of Geminate attacks off, and really abuse the fact of the mobility of your carry in comparison to, a carry like a Nyx, which just, to be perfectly honest, isn't that mobile. With Nyx, you want them to cluster up, you want to get that Infest Bomb off, but without access into the Sonic Wave, without access into the... Well, Prophet, did he ulti there? Because I couldn't quite catch it. But they just weren't able to get all their spells off. They got picked off. And then Universe just went to town. He's doing a ton of damage. And, he is going for that crit. I'm not sure about this, because we saw that Blinding Light prevented him from killing the Queen of Pain for quite some time. Or rather, it was the Enchantress for quite some time. So I would have said that MKB would be better, just so you can get around that really, really irritating Blinding Light. But this is just a little bit more variance-based item. You have that crit, so if you're able to get it off, if you're able to not miss, you're going to basically two-shot this poor Enchantress.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I take that back. Enchantress has Ags.
Oh, well, she does have a lot more durability with that.
Yeah.
That does add in quite a bit here. And they seem to be looking at Roche a little bit. They have that potential, but Clockwork always raring to go. We do see Godblack getting orchided up, but I don't think they can follow up. Don't want to overextend. Don't know where everybody else is at, and they're just going to walk away. But, yeah, the MKB would make sure that Blinding Light wouldn't be an issue, but because the Scythe isn't up for anybody on Empire just yet, it means that he can pretty much be active and just worry about Mantis styling out of Blinding Light and dispelling it that way. And if they don't have the Blinding Light up on the Weaver, then MKB wouldn't be really at that proactive. I do love the damage output from it with the Geminate, just making sure that he has hard right-click damage, but the Daedalus still provides him so much damage for that first attack, and as he gets more and more attack speed, that will be the most relevant one. So that is definitely, either way, both options are very, very powerful, and I think this one, if he gets some good RNG in fights, will be more effective across the board, as long as he saves the Manta for that Blinding Light each and every fight.
Yeah, it's just, he's going to need to use his Manta a little bit more tactfully, but he's basically saving himself a lot of gold by deciding to make that choice. And the little loss of damage coming out from not having the Manta exactly when you want it isn't super relevant. What the hell is Tides doing?
He's playing Tides Dota. I don't know. He is. I mean, he has a rank 2 Netherward that's really, really important to have available and stay alive to use. But they're just playing such aggressive play. They're like, get out of Roche Pit. We don't want you to mess with it. But at the same time, Scandal is doing his thing up on top lane and just pushing down towers and giving Empire a little bit more opportunity to get back in the game, get back towards that even amount of items and gold, even though it's mostly specifically on their 3 cores, the Nature Prophet, the Queen of Pain, and the Lifestealer, but trying to get a little bit of money for the entire team is going to help them out a lot. Big Illuminate, 2.5 creep wave, doing some damage to Universe, is going to hold them back for the moment, but we do see that Weaver has that Daedalus finish, just no buyback, has to be very cautious about that time lapse that's about to come off cooldown. Whoa, 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 Fogged. Really, really cheeky play, but is able to blink before the auto attack and just walk away from there. Now flanking on in, they find out Blow Your Brain. He's out of position entirely. Doesn't have anything to infest to. They can kill him right here. Just bursting him hardcore. They finish the job. And a beautiful, beautiful Dream Coil coming out as well. Nice ultimate from the Queen of Pain, but it's not enough. They just fallen by the wayside, getting slaughtered here. Now focus down on VV. No silence to follow. Probably change their target to Godblack in a moment, but oh no, Aoi really, really wants to bring down VV, or at least take him out of the fight. So he's going to blink away. He is going to survive, but they're going to push down on this tier 2 tower with no problem at all. And I gotta say, Blow Your Brain just really, really caught out in a terrible, terrible spot there.
Yeah, I mean, that was just really clustered. It was an interesting fight right from the beginning. They were all in
They're still going for it, though. Godblack is dropping quickly. BKB on the Queen of Pain. Going to be able to finish off Tides with the help of the Keeper Light. Now, VV needs to get out, but no blink. Instead, gets sheeped up and Soul Assumption down. Now, that tower is 100% toast, and there's not really anything the Keeper Light can do as much as he would want to. Silent is just not in that spot.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I'm not really sure what was going on because I saw a puck blink into the top, into the woods on the right. I saw, an Enchantress be in the woods on the left, and they were both in such terrible positions. But unfortunately for Enchantress, he doesn't have that blink. She doesn't have that rift, and that's the thing about playing puck. You can go and get yourself in really weird spots, force the team to go and deal with you, and in the meantime, that means that there's going to be someone lagging behind it. They just use that chaos. They generate chaos in the team fight. And then they use that to their advantage because they have heroes like Weaver, they have heroes like Clockwork, and those are heroes that thrive when the team fight isn't quite as coordinated. They're able to go and get those pickoffs, get those additional right clicks, get those just generally. Excuse me, I just lost the word I was looking for.
No problem.
But it's really good. It's really good for them. Also, this Aoi, he's gone and got 3 familiars, and that just means it's going to be even more difficult because as soon as they get one lockdown, it's going to be, potentially how many seconds?
Mm-hmm.
That's...
And he's about to hit 16. He's literally 1 experience point away from level 16, and then he is all set with 3 very hard-hitting familiars that will make a big, big difference. I honestly think right now the familiars have contributed more to most of the team fights than Tides of Time has been able to across the entire game because...
To be fair, Tides actually played that last fight really well. He stayed back, he had a really good cask, and got his death ward off, pretty much for at least half the duration. Like, it was very significant. And I think that, he's kind of learned where he needs to be in the fights, and the puck definitely helping out with a great Dream Coil there, and looked like a little smoke gang coming out, kind of baiting the Roshan.
Scandal just came out to buy the Slice of Life, and instead is going to take that to the grave, because there is just no hope for him right here. Does get mech'd up. There is the initiation from Way Too Sexy. Pretty much just a point-blank hookshot. Means that Blow Your Brain can go on Tides right here and finish him off, but he doesn't actually go for it just yet. Now, he gets dropped down. Universe back to practically full with that time lapse. In pursuit of Godblack. Easy, easy pickings there. and it looks like they're just going to go for a full cleanup. There is the Keeper Light back up with that buyback, but he can only contribute so much. Universe goes in for that Orchid, gets a couple of right clicks, big crit coming out, big damage. Unfortunately, the Flare not finishing the job. So that is, he's still going to be able to get on out of there. And although the Orchid dished out a ton of damage at the very last second, they needed one more thing. They needed Puck to be able to Orb Blink and get that Scythe of Ice off or something like that. So
the Shivas or the Hex, like this, man, Fogs is really farmed right now. And with these items, like that's a ton of additional problems to deal with in the team fight, because this means that the Queen of Pain and the Nature's Prophet, both who you don't normally think of right-click heroes, they do a ton of right-click damage though. And that minus attack speed, looks like he's going on at Silent here, and I think Silent's dead.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't want to go all in. He knows that he can get dropped down pretty quickly, but they do use it as a distraction to take the ropes. And this is what you're saying. He has a blink dagger. He can blink out of phase shift, and he can just put himself in a really crappy position and then come out on top of it anyways. It looks like Silent will drop down, but way too sexy. Dropping pretty low himself. Will Fox survive with the heal over time from Tide's Dota? Oh, he phase shifts out of the Queen of Pain Scream. Beautiful play from Fog. And now VV is going to get taken down. So that is Fog surviving throughout all that, and the good game, well played call comes out. That was just so ballsy by Fog, but it paid off just completely, finishing off the pretty much nail and coffin team fight here. Fog phasing out of that last Scream, getting healed up enough out of the Shadow Strike by Tides. Oh, that was just good. That was really smooth, solid play, and that's pretty much what been exhibited across the entire game. Fog's been getting great initiations off. Universe has been being very active and dishing out the damage by just playing very aggressively, and he hasn't really paid for it. I think about all the different situations that the Weaver has been in. He's been in all these really weird places, dropped down to 10% and still has been pursuing, and he has one death on the board. I think it was a first blood. It was one of the first kills on the board. Weaver dying to an Enchantress and Nature's Prophet on bottom, but it doesn't matter in the end. He gets 19 kills, 14 assists, and that was his only death, despite playing so aggressively. So I feel Dignitas' team just set him up for that. And from there, they put the pressure out. Empire really couldn't get back on into it. The Scythe came out at like 38 minutes. It was way too late. And by then, the relentless pressure of Dignitas just smashes on through Empire.
Yeah, I mean, that was just a great game. And I think, again, we saw that, they used Fog, they go and split up the team fight, then they have this tremendous range of initiation. They have Shikuchi, they have the Visage Familiars to go and kind of be on a separate part of the fight entirely. Soul Assumption has great range. Hook Shot, Rocket Flare. Just spread out the team fight, don't let the enemies do what they want to do, and then punish them hard and very well.
Most definitely. Well, we'll be proceeding on into Game 2 in just a minute. This was Game 1 of this best-of-3 series. Dignitas takes it 1-0, and now moving on, we'll see if Empire can bring in the equalizer here or if it's going to be a 2-0 shutout for Dignitas. So, again, we're going to go on into a few songs, take a quick break, and jump on into the next game. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. This has been Blaze and Rainmaker of the Premier League. You can catch you guys on the next one.
Cheers.